The best days have been the rainy ones. They're extremely far and few between. The earth knows it. Actually, the ground is so hard I can barely do my daily exercise on it. It's been scorched and scorned by the daily southern sun. See, we don't ever water the lawn. Is that an American thing? Anyway, my gran is diligent with the plants. She waters them every day.
These are my plants, some mint and some flowers. These are just my flowers.
She waters them as she says, "Oh my, I never thought England would see such weather." I explained to her about climate crisis, then enter deep thought about the intersections between that and corona, then about how 2020 has seen the wettest February on record and could also bring the hottest summer.
As we say locally, the river's showing its bones.
I drink water, though the water has to go through a filter. Without it, the taste of chlorine is so overpowering, it's impossible to drink. I blame Affinity Water, and no, I don't think they have an affinity for water. A report this year found that in 2019, 37,000 days worth of untreated sewage entered rivers in the UK.
I suppose it's more the water industry's dirty little secret.
I'm reminded of this fantastic image entitled Thames Soup, which was dedicated to the private water companies of the day. It comments on how our water systems and bodies are intrinsically related to one another. Post this image, water has been nationalised and then privatised again. Decisions that concern you and I are made far away and profit rich folk around the world. These investments have stake in a new way of colonialism and are buying up land in the global south to prevent dry futures. We, the public, essentially have no say, and we are complicit in this quite frank disaster. We are polluting and looting our supplies on a mad scale and are chopping the hand that feeds us. Anyway, that stuff gets me riled up. Lockdown is lifting and I want to go to my favourite place in the city, actually, the river. I can go on a walk from my house, follow the River Brent to its end at Brentford. It's a beautiful summer's day. I hear the ice cream van singing in the distance and watch the Thames, which is gloriously glistening. This is a place on the cusp of huge change, yet one thing remains, the river that flows through it. It always has and always will. But the river is sad, dirty, lonely, smelly, abandoned, and the Thames Basin is the most polluted in the UK. I come across something in the distance and investigate. St Paul's Primary School is visiting the railway wetlands today. Wayne, who teaches with Green Corridor, is giving them a walk around. Let's join them. Hi, I'm Wayne. I work and I manage this wetland. Dirty water from that building over there, from toilets, bathrooms and sinks, is pumped up here to be cleaned. First it has to go through a filtering process. The bar screen prevents any big bits passing through the system. The water is then pumped through vertical wetlands. Mister, what's a wetland? Natural wetlands improve water quality, provide habitat for wildlife, and store floodwaters. They are super important, but we are building over them and have lost such a huge amount. I think it's a third since 1900. So these are kind of, fake constructed wetlands that copy the functions of real ones. The wetlands are made up of beds of reeds planted in gravel and soil. The water travels downward and the reed plant and other microorganisms take up dirty water and clean it by removing nitrates and phosphates. Mister, why doesn't it smell though? It doesn't smell because this is an aerobic process, meaning that oxygen is used. On the topic of smell, sludge accumulates on the top over time, about 1.5 centimetres a year. The sludge is then turned into compost and used locally. But at this point, the water isn't completely clean yet, so it has to go through a series of horizontal wetlands. This is the polishing stage. The water moves this way, and the clean water is pumped into this water tower, and the water can be used to fulfill public services. The tower is made using local materials and invites animals to live there. A washing machine on the high street, toilet, a shower, a sink for washing hands. A greenhouse which has programmes run by Cultivate London, a local growing group, and Brentford Together, an initiative tackling loneliness. Actually, the Deepenham's reuse plant by the Lee Valley will do just this: turn sewage back into drinking water for times of drought. In Namibia, this is common practice. I ask Wayne why this is here. So, the Brent Valley is an area of immense growth with several opportunity areas within it. The supporting infrastructure has to play catch-up. Mogden Sewage Treatment Works will reach capacity by 2025 and has no room to expand. So what if smaller sewer mining treatment sites such as this were established across the valley in order to prevent large-scale works that cause huge disruption and are often controversial? They can also reduce mains usage, considering London is highly water-stressed. At the moment, there is this one massive loop happening. And within the loop, if we zoom in, soil is carpeted over with pavement, and the city becomes a heat island, radiating rays from its surfaces, creating sauna-like conditions, making water vapour stay in the atmosphere. But what if the future looked like lots of little loops with lots of little interaction, inviting biodiversity, ecological knowledge, and the green economy into communities? Cities like Sydney are currently working towards a decentralised model, which is super exciting. COVID-19 has seen the nation appreciate the value of the local again. Is this something that could stay? A group that is working locally on catchment level is Thames 21, a river trust. Carolina heads up the community Brent River work. Most of it consists of picking up litter, gardening, and wrestling with invasive species. Volunteers do this cheerfully on cold Saturday mornings. The river trusts are charities all over the UK and promote well-being and ecological governance of riverine spaces. I get back home from my meandering and take a shower. I feel immediately grateful for warm running water. I think about times fetching water with the other girls when I go to my great-grandmother's house. She lives in the mountains. Immediately, water is more valuable because of the human time and effort required. But there are always enough hands to fill the pool with water for a baptism. So, years after these decentralised systems arise, thanks to the new community water trusts, wetland technology would have moved on and can treat sewage over smaller areas. It can also be stacked. Water evaporates from the land. It rains. Water is soaked up by the earth and all its flora and fauna. Plant processes go on. Ecosystems work. The groundwater is recharged, meaning there's also drinkable water for humans. The river floods as it needs to, soaking up the extra water in the landscape. The river is swimmable, fish populations are thriving, and the city does not thirst. Dear river, you go out to sea and return as rain. You fill our cups to the brim. We shunned you away and then we complained. We put you out on a limb. You once filled the landscape oh so freely, but slowly you fade from view. The population's growing and not ideally, we need ever more of you. The powers at play seem larger than life, with their big projects and money. But what would be better for you, my friend, and what would make you sunny? I will follow you, Dr. Doom, honey. I'll follow you.